this. All right. So shout out to Blue Blood Sports. Shout out to Michael Benson. And I did a little bit more research, and it appears that Andy Ruiz is no longer part of the PBC. Basically, him and the PBC, along with his father, agreed that it ran its course and it was time for them to move on. Rumor has it that they couldn't agree on possible opponents. Now, keep in mind, Andy Ruiz was supposed to be in negotiations to have a fight with Deontay Wilder on May the 6th, and it looked like that fight is in jeopardy. Now, you're also been hearing that Deontay Wilder says that he is a promotional free agent, but he's still with the PBC. So my thing is, if Andy Ruiz was allowed to leave, and okay, with Wilder, well, you know what I'm saying? So I find this very interesting. That Ruiz is no longer with the PBC. Now, keep in mind, I've interviewed Andy Ruiz a couple of times. Andy Ruiz is a nice guy. So, but you just been hearing about rumblings behind the scenes and stuff. And I know a lot of times they get upset when you report possible issues because, sometimes they like to try to control what you say. And sometimes a lot of these people in the organization like to try to control what you say, whether it's good or bad. And when it comes out that something may be deemed bad or puts a question mark around their possible reputation, or puts questions around, how they are as an organization, then, they get attitudes. And sometimes they will have people call you and ask you what's up with the video and that you put out. Well, I'm just going to say this much. I'm going to say what I want to say. You've been hearing about this for a while. So, I mean, let's just keep this a buck. Where does Andy Ruiz go from here? Well, he could sign with Matchroom. He could go to Golden Boy, or he could operate on a fight by fight basis. He could possibly go back to Top Rank. So he has options. When he was with Top Rank, his name wasn't out there like it is now. Andy Ruiz, at least around the boxing circuit, he is popular. He made history becoming the first Mexican heavyweight champion. So his name is far bigger now than it was, back in 2018, when he came out, when he emerged as a replacement opponent for Anthony Joshua. And he went on to surprise and shock the world by not only beating Anthony Joshua, but stopping Anthony Joshua. But you always got to be wary of that phrase, mutually agreed. A lot of times, because I know in the corporate world, mutually agreed mean that they don't want you anymore. When they say mutually agreed to part ways, like I said before, that's the term of being fired. But interesting. Man, very interesting that Andy Ruiz is no longer with the PBC. I just like I said before, this is what I was talking about. So let's see what type of dominoes fall after today. Let's see what happens after today. after these meetings happened with Showtime and Paramount about mergers, about consolidating, putting stuff together, instead of having standalone companies, because they already announced that more than likely Showtime's not going to be a standalone brand anymore. So let's see what happens. Let's see after the day, will Showtime be in the boxing business? But it reference back to my other past streams where I kept telling you guys that there was some things going on behind the scenes, when I kept telling you guys that Showtime wasn't pleased with what was going on as far as boxing go. And I kept telling you guys, while you had a lot of these so-called content creators that was running to their channels talking about, oh, this fight did this amount of pay-per-views, that fight did this amount of pay-per-views. Like I keep saying, if the pay-per-views were doing the numbers they were saying, this wouldn't even be an issue. Even when they decided to put together these companies, their subsidiaries, they would have immediately announced, okay, Showtime Sports isn't going anywhere. If they were having the success that some of these content creators were putting out. And that just goes to show you that they're busted, that they never knew what they were talking about, and that they were lying. And I kept telling you that when it came to these so-called pay-per-view numbers. Like I said before, when I was saying the same thing about Fox. Fox gave the PBC an additional year. When they wanted to do away with them, when they wanted to do away with them after 2021, and they gave them an additional year, and they still couldn't make. I mean, look what they had on pay-per-view. Let's just keep it a buck. Look what fights they had on pay-per-view. Look at their pay-per-view cards last year on Fox. Look at past pay-per-views, fights that you had no business trying to sell as a pay-per-view. Ortiz versus Ruiz. I mean, come on, man. Some of Areola, those type of fights. Come on, man. Nobody asked for those fights. Nobody at least asked for those fights to be on pay-per-view. So this is when you knew that something was going down. This is when these were all the signs. But of course, when you had people like me saying, okay, I don't think what they're putting out is factual. And then you had people trying to attack me and other people that were just saying, hey, man, something ain't adding up. Oh, you just hating. Oh, you're just hating. You're just hating. Just like I kept telling you. Just like when they was trying to tell you at first that Charlo pay-per-view did like 200,000 pay-per-view buy, when in reality, the numbers that Ashley, the fight allegedly did, was well under 100,000. I heard that fight did somewhere between 60 and 80,000 pay-per-views. That it was a flop. And you were hearing about other pay-per-views not doing what was being reported. And I know a lot of these content creators were cool with a lot of these fighters sometimes. So they were trying to help them by saying, oh, this fight did 400,000 and all this kind of stuff. Now, I'm not going, like I said, I deal with some of these fighters too. I'm not going to say which fight didn't do the numbers that they said it did, but at the same time, I'm not going to sit up here in front. But I could tell you all that's listening to this stream that you guys see for yourself. No matter how much these dudes want to sit up there in front and cape for dude appeared to have burned some bridges with people. He said that made people mad. Because at the end of the day, they had a chance. They had a chance to, you know what I'm saying, to make right. But they just wouldn't give us the fights we wanted. And that was the problem. We kept asking for certain fights and we couldn't get them. Whatever the case may be, we couldn't get them. And this is why I keep telling you, do not believe that Spence versus Crawford is going to happen anytime soon. I know that they put out a report on Spectrum Cable that fight is set for sometime in June. Like I said before, till you actually see a press conference announcing this fight, until you actually look online and see tickets available, you have a date, a location, do not fall for it. So I got to say this, and to a certain degree, I am taking a bit of a shot at them. So for all them content creators, you know, the dudes that had 100, 150, 200,000 that was just putting out lies. Now the question is, now what? Now what? Putting out lies. Now what? You were lying. But I guess that's what people are into. But I guess that's what happens when you have a lot of casuals talking versus, versus people that actually follow the sport and actually care about the sport. And what happens is you have a lot of people that are casuals that listen to these content creators and they believe whatever these content creators say is the gospel. And then some of these content creators push an agenda. Like if a certain content creator don't like a certain boxer, or at least people that's affiliated with these boxers, well, they run a smear campaign. They try to slander the person's name. You've seen many channels do that with Terrence Crawford. But yeah, this is troubling to hear about something like this. So I don't know what's the next move gonna be. I don't know what's the next move gonna be with the PBC, where they're headed after this. But today is gonna be very interesting. I'm gonna stay tuned. I'm definitely gonna see what's up. Andy Ruiz, I think he'll find a home. I think he'll find somebody, because Andy Ruiz is still has value. And you put him in the ring with the right opponent, then who knows what could happen. I'm not gonna sit up there and say that he's a pay-per-view star, but I think you could set up some decent fights for him. Now, you may get a fight with him and Wilder, but in all likelihood, it's not going to be on Showtime. And like I said, he may go back. He may go back to Top Rank. He might fight on a fight-by-fight basis. I mean, Andy Ruiz would be an interesting opponent for Jared Anderson. I think Jared Anderson would have some success against Andy Ruiz at this point. So I could see that fight happening. I could see them doing a fight-by-fight basis with Andy Ruiz. Why not? But based off the fact that Andy Ruiz is not with the PBC anymore, and you've been hearing about other people having issues with the PBC, and you know who these dudes are. Well, let's see what's revealed, because eventually Andy Ruiz is gonna be in the public eye. People gonna ask this dude questions like, "Hey man, what happened?" After a while, you're gonna get After a while, you're gonna stop putting out what you think happened, and when you see Andy Ruiz, you're gonna ask him what happened, and people are gonna be curious. I'm pretty sure people are reaching out to Eddie Ruiz now because we want to know what happened. Not because we trying to get stories to run somebody's name through the mud, but as media people, we want to report to our subscribers, to our subs, fans, whatever you want to call it, our followers, what's going on. Keep you guys posted. And then we have conversations about it. But yeah, I'm gonna do a little bit more research. Stay tuned. I'll let you guys know what's going on with Paramount and Showtime and the future of boxing, or the future of Showtime carrying sports. But I'll get back to you guys. Out.